Hey, honey,
Yes, Barry?
let's get out of here.
Where are we going?
Where do we always go?
Fascina el viento, este ritmo de palmas, sin ti naturaleza, hasta encontrar la playa. Por eso grito al mundo, yo soy de Puerto Vallarta. Samba de Puerto Vallarta, noche de arrullo en el mar. Samba de Puerto Vallarta.
Hello, fellow travelers, and welcome to this episode of the Puerto Vallarta Travel Show. I'm your host, Barry Kessler, and I'm just so happy to be introducing you to my favorite vacation destination. Hey, maybe it's even yours, and that's Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. That music you're listening to is performed by Alberto Perez, and Alberto is the owner of the Lapa Lapa group of restaurants here. Those are the Lapa Lapa, Puerto Vallarta's oldest restaurant on the famous Los Muertos beach, and the El Dorado Restaurant and Beach Club right next door. So you can enjoy that fantastic view of the Los Muertos Pier, all lit up at night in beautiful colors, or during the day in its grand splendor for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, seated with your toes in the sand right at the water's edge. It's so romantic. It's so Puerto Vallarta, my friends. This week I have interviews from our second meet and greet that we had at JR's meet and greet at Kelly's Por Favor Saloon and Cookhouse. We had it on the roof over at the Cookhouse on the 9th of October, just a couple weeks back. But before I get to those interviews, let's see what's happening this week in Puerto Vallarta. And believe me, there's really been a lot happening. This is October 24th, 2018. It has been a very emotional week for the Puerto Vallarta Travel Show because we had a scare of a hurricane. Kind of frightening for all of Puerto Vallarta. If you hadn't been following the news, Vallarta had a huge hurricane scare. In fact, this one was a repeat. Maybe kind of almost a repeat of Hurricane Patricia back in 2015. But this time we had Hurricane Willa, and Willa was churning her way up the Mexican coast. They started tracking her and talking about her, I think, on Saturday the 20th, or maybe it was Friday the 19th. I'm not sure which. But it was due to hit in an area somewhere between Mazatlan and San Blas, just north of Puerto Vallarta, on Tuesday morning, October the 23rd. It was due to pass by Puerto Vallarta. On the 22nd, Willa became a Category 5 hurricane. That was on Monday. And anyway, the hurricane was expected to generate waves that would be 6 to 10 meters high. And of course, there was lots of fear that the tidal surge could cause the same kind of damage that was caused by Hurricane Kenna back in 2002. We've talked about Kenna before. And back then, there were hundreds of seaside businesses and restaurants that were damaged or destroyed by the giant waves that were generated by that hurricane. So it was pretty scary. I don't know if you remember my story about Hurricane Patricia, where Debbie and I actually self-evacuated. We caught a bus to Guadalajara, where they actually got more rain than they got in Puerto Vallarta. That was back in October of 2015, and back then, the authorities evacuated all the hotels. This time, I think in the end, they didn't do that. At first, they were asking all the hotels to evacuate, but as the time progressed, it looked like the hurricane would hit north, whacking someone else, unfortunately. But let me read from a post from Pam Thompson Webb. We know Pam Thompson. She's a friend of the show. She's been on the show. And she had a conversation with the chief of the firefighters here in Puerto Vallarta. And let me just read here. October 22nd, this was at 12:07 p.m. It reads, here is a summary of my chat with Adriana, chief of Bomberos. Electricity will not be turned off, although it could go off. It's on its own, like it does when we have storms. The port will be closed until Friday. The airport is open. Another meeting tonight at 7 and maybe further details on that. There will be no garbage collection tomorrow. Today, all oceanfront businesses will be told that they must close tomorrow. Oceanfront hotels will be told to evacuate. Estimated time frame of stuff went like this. The rain the rest of today and tonight. That was on Monday. And then tomorrow around 11 a.m., that will be on Tuesday, an increase in winds and rain and the beginning of high waves, 6 to 10 meters estimated throughout all of tomorrow afternoon and evening. He encourages those that live on the beachfront to move to higher ground tomorrow morning. Your own choice, not mandatory. Make your own decision. Same if you live near a river or a canal. The IMSS is moving patients today from Clinica number 42. Bus service will continue until further notice. I will receive updates and post. Stay calm. Don't spread rumors, please. Let's see what Willa brings us. And that was from Pam Thompson. And that was on Monday, about, I would say about 24 hours before the effects of the storm was said to begin to be felt in Puerto Vallarta. Now, I took a couple of videos from my laptop of the Cuatasicuetes cam, and it showed the biggest waves that came on the beach there. And luckily, the waves never got anywhere near enough, big enough to damage the restaurants. I'd say that never more than, I would say, 10-foot high waves, at least from what I could see. Actually looked like a good day in Malibu, to be honest with you, and thank God for that. But actually the waves came up to the wooden steps that lead down to the beach from the boardwalk right in front of Cuatasicuetes, but they never got higher than that. I've got, like I said, I have pictures of that in the show notes for this episode, so you can check that out. Now, I read that Nayarit, that they were going to evacuate as many as 15,000 people. I don't know if they did. I'm not quite sure. I did not follow it that closely, but I do know that there was a lot of flooding in Mazatlan, and I have a friend over in Mazatlan, Alfonso, and he's got a place there. He's going to be I'm going to have him on as a guest one day, and he will talk to me maybe next week. So anyway, the big waves and the heavy rain didn't come as was anticipated. There was some heavy rains at times, but not the big gully washer that everybody was expecting for sure. And as a matter of fact, if you were, to come today or tomorrow, you wouldn't even know that there was actually near disaster. They were boarding up a lot of the places up front. They were making all those preparations, but today everything's cleaned up. Everybody's open for business, and you would never know that Willa came by. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, Puerto Vallarta is saved by the ravages of Mother Nature, and gracias a Dios for that, I must say. Now, let's take a little look at the dates of the last hurricanes that came by Puerto Vallarta. Check them out now. Check this out. Kenna was October 25th, 2002. Patricia, October 23rd, 2015. And now Willa, October 23rd, 2018. You see a pattern here? Coincidence? Nah. All right. Speaking of getting blown away, I contacted Michael Keller over at Guardian Insurance Mexico to get my usual insurance plan, and they didn't have it. In fact, if I wanted one like it, I actually needed to pay some astronomical figure. So I begged off, and I insured my trip through World Nomads Insurance Company. Now, I've also used another company called Alliance, and but the insurance policy with World Nomads Insurance fit my needs a little bit better, both price-wise and coverage-wise. So I went and I grabbed it from them, and I have links to both of these companies in the show notes if you want to check them out as an alternative to the coverage from Guardian Insurance Mexico. But now, with that said, the reason that I liked the policy that I got through Michael Keller over there was because that policy paid the hospital right away. You didn't need a credit card with a big balance on it, or you didn't have to have cash sent down from families and friends and whatnot to get the initial hospital charges taken care of. Remember, if you're admitted to a Mexican hospital, they want payment right away. They don't fool around. And neither of these insurance plans that I got do that. But the one at Guardian did. There is that to be said about the higher cost, I guess, of the coverage that I got with Guardian Insurance Mexico. So I don't know. You got to weigh that out, I guess. I weighed it out because I just thought it was something like $300, maybe $350 for the 2 weeks that I was going to be down there. Actually, I was just down there for 10 days. Of course, every time I go down there, my wife threatens to hold my high balance credit card if I get injured. She looks at me and says, "Come on, what are you talking about? I'm not going to be paying for you." Really, she does. She tells me that every time. Speaking of dying, let's talk a little bit about the Day of the Dead celebrations in Puerto Vallarta. Last year, I talked about Dia de los Muertos in Puerto Vallarta, including what happens when you happen to experience your very own Day of the Dead, when you happen to die in Vallarta. I discussed about getting buried, getting shipped back home, being shot up in a firework over the bay, being planted with a tree over at the Botanical Garden. Remember that? And more, and more. And if you haven't heard that one, go back a year and give it a listen. I originally thought that I would go to a few cemeteries when I was here for this last trip, but I ran out of time. I went a whole bunch of places, and they weren't cemeteries, I got to tell you. But next time I'm in town, I plan to do some more morbid research for you guys. You guys love that stuff, I know. But let's review a little bit of history right now about the Dia de los Muertos, the Day of the Dead. We'll go real quickly if we can. If you really want to learn a whole lot about it, have a little fun doing it, you can watch that Disney film Coco that came out last year. But anyway, let's get right to it. Let's see about Dia de los Muertos. So the Day of the Dead celebrations in Mexico developed from pre-Columbian times and cultures. They had rituals celebrating the deaths of ancestors, and they had observed these traditions for maybe 2,500 to 3,000 years. And the festival that developed into the modern day Day of the Dead originally fell in the ninth month of the Aztec calendar, about the beginning of August, and it was celebrated for an entire month. The festivals were dedicated to the goddess known as the Lady of the Dead, corresponding to the modern La Calavera Catrina, or elegant skull or skeleton. And of course, back then, the Spaniards, the Catholics there, they figured they couldn't kill that tradition, but they did manage to move the date to correspond with All Saints' Day. So they put up with the pagan activities of the indigenous Mexicans and basically changed that date By the late 20th century, most regions of Mexico had developed a practice to honor dead children on November the 1st and to honor deceased adults on November the 2nd. November the 1st is generally referred to as Dia de los Inocentes, translates to Day of the Innocents, but also as Dia de los Angelitos, or Day of the Little Angels. And then November 2nd is referred to as Dia de los Muertos, or Dia de los Difuntos. In other words, Day of the Dead. So, what goes on during the Day of the Dead celebrations, you might ask? Well, Mexicans often build altars in their homes to honor the loved ones past, and they invite the dead to join the family once again by offering their favorite foods, their favorite drinks, clothes that they loved when they were alive, stuff like that. And these altars are constructed inside of homes, in the backyards and front yards, or at the cemetery where the grave sites are. Now, earlier we talked a little bit about Lady of the Dead, and corresponding to the modern La Calavera Catrina, or the elegant skull or skeleton. So the La Calavera Catrina is a zinc etching that was done by a very famous printmaker, a cartoonist, an illustrator, and lithographer, Jose Guadalupe Posada. Sometime between 1910 and 1913, he made this image, and it depicts a female skeleton dressed only in a hat, befitting the upper-class outfit of a European of her time. She portrayed satirically one of those Mexican natives who Posada felt was aspiring to adopt a European aristocratic tradition in the pre-revolution area. And she in particular has become an icon of the Mexican Dia de los Muertos, or Day of the Dead. And like I've said before, if you are a Grateful Dead fan, you will definitely recognize that smiling skeleton with the bonnet. That is the same Posada Calavera Catrina character. It's pretty interesting. Now, there are all sorts of ways that you can make a Catrina design on your face, of course. And if you go to YouTube or you go to Pinterest, you can get all kinds of great ideas on how to paint your face with the cool Calavera Catrina look. And it makes it easy for those of you who have no idea what you want to be for Halloween this year. Check it out. Go do it, man. Now, what do they do in Puerto Vallarta? Well, this year there is something very special and new. I will read from Vallarta Daily News. It's dated October 20th, 2018. It reads, 32 giant Catrina and 80 altars will be part of the Day of the Dead in Puerto Vallarta. From October 28th to November 3rd, Vallarta will carry out a series of activities to remember the faithful departed, and will also have as a guest the neighboring state of Aguascalientes, who will be present with giant Catrinas that will be exhibited along the Malecon, a total of 32 giant Catrinas, about 80 altars, art exhibitions, contests, legends, and tours with storytelling are part of the activities prepared to celebrate this important date in Mexico. On October 28th, the events will start with the Catrinas show in Plaza Caracol at 7 o'clock in the evening. In addition, the special presentation of the musical show, the music from Coco, where children can dance in the company of characters of this traditional Mexican movie. How fun! The city council reported that Puerto Vallarta is being a beach destination that has everything to offer its visitors, such as exquisite cuisine, ecotourism, adventure, and the most spectacular landscapes, while also preserving Mexican traditions, like the Day of the Dead. I have a link to that article in the show notes, so that's pretty cool. That's going to be something that I don't think has ever happened here in Vallarta before. Those giant Catrinas. Cool, those guys from Aguascalientes. Way to go. Now, I can't for the life of me find a schedule of events for this year, but I do have one from last year. I posted it in the show notes, It's in English and it's in Spanish, kind of in English, but you'll get the gist of it. Also, remember that the dates don't change. Maybe the days of the week do, because remember it was from last year, but the dates are going to be the same. So look at the dates, and my guess is you're going to find the same events are going to be happening this year as were happening last year. I will post, if I get the new schedule, I'll post it on my Facebook page. And if you haven't been to my Facebook page, well, not my own Facebook page, but go to the Puerto Vallarta Travel Show Facebook page and like the page if you haven't already. And you will get notifications from me every week when I put something up or when I post a new show or something like that. So I will definitely post that on the Puerto Vallarta Travel Show page, Facebook page. So check it out later on in the week. And I'll talk about that next week too. If there's any changes or anything like that, we'll talk about it in next week's show. But we will have time for that. Now, in years past in Puerto Vallarta, the celebrations go from the 28th of October until the 2nd of November, with parades and with festivals, charro horse parades. All people with painted Katrina faces, people on motorcycles. I mean, it's pretty amazing. Now, on the 20th or the 29th, the altars are going to start going up along the Malecon. The 30th, there is going to be the Ballet Folklorico over at the Arches on the Malecon. That's going to start at 8 p.m. That'll go from 8 until 10. If you are in town on the 31st, you will definitely be hit up if you're walking along the Malecon for candy, so be prepared. They seem to have picked up that bad habit from the north, and they caught on pretty good. So just be ready, to hand out the candy to the little ones. Let's see, there's going to be a big parade. The big parade's going to be on November the 2nd. Happens every year. Begins up at the cemetery, up at the 5th of December cemetery there. And it starts at 5 o'clock. My suggestion is, get there early. And if you don't know the route, just start walking up to the cemetery there. You will run into people along the way. Or just go down to the Malecon, wait for it to come on down onto the Malecon. They are going to end up at the municipal market if they do what they did last year. Anyway, next week, for sure, I'll give you an update on that as well. Okay? And then, of course, to wrap up the fun, on Saturday, the 3rd of November, Los Muertos Brewing is having an event from 1 in the afternoon until 11 at night. They're having their 6th annual Fiesta en la Calle. There's going to be food, there's going to be music and beer, lots of beer, and lots of fun over at Los Muertos Brewing over on Lazaro Cardenas and Constitucion. Eat, drink, party on the street, Fiesta en la Calle at Los Muertos. And speaking of beer, I got a call from our friend Edgar Rivas with Brewmaster Festival Puerto Vallarta, and it's coming up next month. So let's hear from him right now. We talked yesterday morning, and here he is. All right. Hey, Edgar, thanks for joining me today.
Hello, Barry. How are you? Good morning.
Good morning to you. Hey, first of all, I want to thank Chase Buckner over at Vallarta Co-work for helping hook us up here and getting us a good signal. So, hey, tell me what's going on. We're having some beer again, huh?
Sure. Well, we're getting ready for November. We're gonna have the second edition for the Brewmasters Festival, Puerto Vallarta. So we're very excited because, well, this year is going to be a bigger event. So we are expecting 12 breweries. It's, of course, breweries from here, from Puerto Vallarta, like Los Muertos Brewing, Los Cuentos, that's another brand from the city. We're going to have a brewery from Bucerías. The name is Buclas. Also from Sayulita, Jambac. And on this edition, we're going to have special guests coming from Guadalajara. We're going to have around 3 breweries coming from Guadalajara. And actually, we're working with a festival in Montreal, in Canada. So we're gonna have also another special guest coming from Boucherville. Boucherville is a little city in Montreal state. So the festival Octenbull is coming this time. So we're gonna have a stand. We're gonna have some beer from Canada. So it will be very interesting for all the people who would like to attend to the event.
Very good. Where's the event going to be?
The event is going to be at the Kwale Island, where is the cultural center. You need to walk opposite opposite the beach side. So let's say you need to go through the mountain. So at the end of the island, you will find the Instituto Vallartense de Cultura, Cultural Center. That's the place where we hold the event. Well, the event will be November 17 and 18. So it's going to be a very nice weekend. We're going to have also some food stands, local food, of course. We're going to have ceviches. We're going to have there's a guy from Uruguay coming, especially for the event. He's going to cook choripanes. It's kind of like a hot dog, but it's a Argentinian sausage, what they put. Mm-hmm. So it's very, very tasty. We're going to have some mixologies. We're going to have two friends doing nice cocktails, of course, based on craft beer, but some extra ingredients. So we're going to have also a little bit of cocktails, music, of course, live music. We're going to have rock bands, even DJ, reggae, ska music, a little bit of everything during all the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. We already have the schedule for the different bands they are coming to play to the event. Okay. So it's a very nice, good weekend with a food court, also some shade tables, so then the people can enjoy during all the afternoon.
Excellent, excellent. Now, we all know where that area is because we've all gone to the Babel Bar, and it's right in that area where the Babel Bar is. Tell us, and now this is the second year that you're doing this?
See, it's the second edition. We just started this project last year. It was a huge success. We didn't expect all the people who attend last year. It was more than we were expecting. So all the breweries, they were so happy because actually they sell everything during all the week, all the product they're doing. So it was a good sale. Of course, the good promotion. The other thing we want to, me as the organizer, one of the goals that I have, it's always to promote the local things we have. No, even if it's a drink, even if it's food. But at the end, everything is regarding the culture from Puerto Vallarta. Well, Banderas Bay also, we are in this area. So at the end, the goal from the events is to promote the culture, what we have. So it's to get close to the people. And of course, it's a good chance these breweries get together with the people. So then when you go to a restaurant, if you see the brand, well, at least you know what is the taste. So it's a good place for promotion, selling, and of course the experience for the people to try new tastes. We're going to have around 50 different kind of beers. We're going to have through lager, IPAs, pale ale, stouts, pilsner, many different kind of beers we're going to have from each one of the breweries. So it will be a very interesting experience for sure.
Absolutely. And I'm really happy that you're doing what you're doing there. And I know that there's lots of people in Puerto Vallarta who are totally into the craft brewing and the craft beer. And, of course, people coming from afar are, I'm sure, very happy to have something maybe a little bit more strong than your basic Modelo or your Pacifico or your Dos Equis, So very, very good. It's great that you guys are doing that. Let me ask you a couple questions. You guys just had a hurricane go by. How'd everything go?
Well, at the end, it was everything perfect and good. Nothing happened. Today it's a very sunny day, like nothing happened yesterday. And no, on Monday, Tuesday, we just had it was a rainy day, a lot of clouds, of course, but well, it was not even thunders, so it was actually not that big. But anyway, the government, the people, they act very good. Everybody was doing what the police were saying to stay in a safe place, to buy some groceries. Even actually, I think 90% of the businesses in the Malecon, they close. Even they block doors, the windows with the wood covers. I don't know, so to protect all the windows. So now it was very quiet. Yesterday I was driving around in downtown, so most of the business were closed. So everything good. So today everything is going back to the normal. So people is already setting up things on the beach. All the people in the market, well, they sell the handcraft, etc. It's already working, getting ready. So that's the we are fortunate. Nothing happened.
It happened again. You had Patricia come by again, except for it was called Willa this time. Good for you guys.
It was
Good for you
2
guys.
years ago, and it happened the same totally.
Yeah. I remember I was there. All right. Hey, Edgar, I want to thank you so much for coming on and letting everybody know about what's going on. And give me those dates one more time, please.
November 17 and 18 at the Cultural Center on the Quale Island, starting at 2 o'clock until 10 p.m. So it's going to be Saturday and Sunday, a lot of activities, a lot of beer, food, of course, Mexican culture. The Quale Island is a very nice location also. So save the date, and the nice weather is coming to Puerto Vallarta, so November is going to be a perfect time for you guys to come. So I hope to see you here, and of course, Barry, you're always welcome whenever you want to come for a special tour, my friend.
Edgar, you're all right. All right, my friend. Thanks again. Hey, we'll talk about this again just before the event, okay?
Sure, we stay in contact, and of course, to invite all the people who's coming to Puerto Vallarta on the season is about to start.
Excellent. Okay, we'll talk to you next month then, all right?
Okay, Barry.
Thanks, Edgar. Okay, save that date if you're in town, and check out that Brewmaster Craft Beer Festival over on Quale Island. Wow, they let a Canadian brewery in there? Oh, well. Save the dates. It's November 17th and 18th. Check out the poster for the event and the show notes for this episode at www.puertovallartatravelshow.com. And we'll bring you more news about that as the event comes closer. Also, I need to thank Chase Buckner over at Vallarta Co-work. Edgar actually came into their place because every time I call Edgar, I get the worst connection. It's just awful. So I said, go over to Vallarta Co-work, and Chase will set you up with a microphone. And he did all that stuff for me. And the problem was that Edgar didn't have his laptop with him. I forgot to tell Edgar to take one with him. And so he did his interview on the phone with me. But it wasn't bad, right? It was a Google Hangout on his phone. He hooked it into the Wi-Fi over at Vallarta Co-op, and it actually made that listenable. So thank you for that, Chase. And while I'm at it, I want to thank them very much for making it possible for me to bring you our last podcast that we had a couple weeks ago over at Kelly's Por Favor, Saloon and Cookhouse. I had the crappiest internet this trip, I got to say. The two places that I stayed had awful internet. And if it wasn't for Vallarta Co-work, you would not have had that show. So thank you very, very much. If you guys ever need some great ups, some great uploads, you need some really good connection, Vallarta Co-work is where you got to go. And if you haven't caught the episode of the one that I had with Chase over at Vallarta Co-work, we talked about digital nomads of Puerto Vallarta, one of the most listened to episodes, I must say. So if you haven't heard that one, go back and listen. And if you want some great internet, check them out for sure. All right, thanks again. Let's get to the interviews, shall we, over at Kelly's Por Favor. Now, I have to say that I was so thrilled to see so many people at that second meet and greet. The first one was terrific, and the second was even better. That was on October the 9th. You're going to hear from Nancy Page. Nancy works with Natasha Moraga. And you are going to hear from Catherine Caldera. She is from the Boutique Theater. We've spoken to Catherine before. And I just adore Catherine. She's one of the first people that I met when I began this podcast. And anyway, I also met a man named Jamie. You're going to hear from him. You're going to hear about his projects. And then lastly, my good friend and a friend of the show, Berserk. Her real name is Pam, and she is my TripAdvisor buddy. Well, she's one of my TripAdvisor buddies, I must say. I've had her on my show in an episode. We talked about timeshares and about luxury resorts in Puerto Vallarta and in Nuevo Vallarta. And we also talked about Lake Chapala because that's where she's from. Anyway, I finally got a chance to meet her and her husband Mike and some of her really great friends over at the meet and greet. And she was just so good to come and visit. So we were there. And let's go now to the rooftop of Kelly's Por Favor. I got to warn you right now that during the conversation that I was having with Jamie, there's going to be some occasional buzzing, and I don't know why. I can't figure it out. I'm thinking maybe it was a lightning storm that was going on that we just weren't paying attention to. I did try to minimize it. Just be ready for it. It's not too bad. I ran all the interviews together also, so I will be coming back on the other end after the last one that I have with Berserk. So let's go right now to the rooftop at Kelly's Por Favor Saloon and Cookhouse on Lazaro Cardenas, and let's hear from our friends right now. All right. Up on the rooftop at Kelly's Por Favor Saloon and Cookhouse. Nancy, thanks for joining me today.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
All right, so tell me a little bit about yourself. I want to like get a little bit personal with you.
Okay.
What was your path to Puerto Vallarta?
My path to Puerto Vallarta was actually to come here and help my brother. My brother is Mark Page, and he owns Gay Guide Vallarta.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I've interviewed Gay Guide Vallarta.
Really?
Yeah, I have.
Well, that is my brother.
All right. Well, I didn't interview your brother. I interviewed somebody who works for your brother. All right. So, and when was that?
Oh, that was 6 years ago.
So you've been down here 6 years. Where are you from?
I'm from Chicago.
Oh, fantastic. All right. So tell me what you do here.
Well, what I do is primarily I help Natasha with the park.
Natasha Moraga.
Yes, Natasha Moraga. And when I met Natasha, Natasha had this great idea, and she was ready to launch with the park, and all she had was a Facebook account. And so what I really wanted to do, I thought her project was so special, is I really wanted everyone to know about it. So that's what I'm here to do, and to help raise the money for the project.
All right. So I did have a little talk with Natasha earlier today, but maybe you can talk to us a little bit about what's going on at the park.
Well, what we are doing is we are mosaicing the park. A lot of people have stopped every once in a while and said, okay, you did the pillars. Are you finished? We are so far from finished. What we'll be doing is we'll be doing all the benches. We'll going in and finishing all of the pillars at the top, and we're even going to be touching the floor. The floor won't be mosaicked, but it'll have color. Every single thing will be pulled together.
Really? So
yes.
The sidewalks are actually they're going to be colored.
They're going to be colored.
No way.
Yeah.
Now, how are they going to do that and keep that from all like wearing out and washing away and all that stuff?
You know, this is part of my job is raising the money. It's a very expensive process, and it's not a paint, but it's something that goes in and it actually oxidizes the cement, and it will come up color.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, so
but
you're
it's very expensive.
You're summoning the colors out of the ground.
Yes, we are. We want to make
magic.
Vallarta beautiful.
Wow. Okay, that's totally cool. So tell us, what kind of fundraising techniques are we using this time around?
So we're going to do a few different things this year. Last year we did a big spring gala where we brought in a bunch of entertainers. We had a silent auction, a a raffle. We did a live auction. We're going to mirror that again this year. We're also going to do something a little bit lower scale. We're going to do a big party in the park where it is not cost inhibitive for anyone to go. We really want everyone to feel that they're a part of this because this truly is a community project.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And it looks so beautiful right now. I mean,
Thank you.
You walk by and you just go, wow, that is so cool.
Just wait till next year.
I can't wait. All right. So you also have I saw some tile and a painting actually by Adrian Tacano.
Are you talking about in...
I'm talking about in this, there's a bar or something like that.
In Culture.
Culture, yeah.
Yes.
I've been seeing these pictures in Facebook.
Thank you for bringing up Culture.
Okay, help me with this, okay?
So Culture is this really wonderful new space that's opening up at 466 Carranza. It's where Three Hens and a Rooster used to be.
Okay.
And this is a wonderful project by Jim Lee and Sean Carey, his husband, and it's an artist co-op. And so we have a gallery in there. We put a bar in there. It's a beautiful circle bar that was all done by Daniel Moraga, Natasha's brother.
Okay.
And I have to say, it's some of his most magnificent work yet. We also have a mural in there by Adrian Tacano, another very well-known muralist here in Vallarta. And we have decided to put our headquarters there.
Okay.
So, El Parque de los Azulejos will have our office in the gallery. What a great spot for us to be, since it's all about art. So, you'll have the opportunity to purchase tiles. You'll be able to work with somebody as far as design, set up for workshops, what have you, and you'll have a place to go to, as well as our website.
All right. That sounds pretty cool. Tell us a little bit about that. I mean, is it? It's a bar. It's a gallery. Can you eat there too? Tell us about this place.
Thanks for that question. Yes, actually, it's a bar. It's a gallery. It's a artist co-op. So upstairs, there's about 20 different individual rooms, and they're all individual galleries. In that back area where you saw Adrian Tacano's mural, that's the kitchen. So the restaurant will be coming in, and that will be officially opening November 8th.
Excellent.
And so it's going to be a jazz bistro. So we'll do jazz brunches on Saturday and Sunday. We'll do entertainment there. It is going to be the hip, hot spot for everybody.
All right. Can't wait.
I can't wait,
get down
too.
there and take some pictures of it, too, so I can have it in the blog post in the show notes for this episode. So,
Excelente.
Yeah, I'm going to check that out. And it's probably like air-conditioned, so it's probably a little bit more comfortable than standing in the park selling tiles.
Well, we don't have air conditioning yet, but there is some ceiling fans,
Okay,
so
all
it
right.
is
Mexican
a
air
step up.
conditioning. There is, yes. It's Mexican air conditioning. It's all right.
Yes.
It works. You don't have that in the park.
Well, I don't have that at home either, so let's not change things up,
No, you don't want to get spoiled.
Exactly.
You're going to get home and go, God, I got to go back to work.
Exactly. Well, I'm already spoiled by just living here.
Oh, that's for sure. Man, all right, you're killing me now. If you were going to go somewhere other than Couture to have some dinner here in Vallarta, where would you go? Just you had one choice. Let's say you only had one night. You can only have one meal. What would it be?
Barcelona tapas.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can get my fill of tapas at Culture, which will be absolutely fantastic, but Barcelona tapas, you can't beat their food and you can't beat their view. So it's one of my most favorite places to go.
Okay, excellent. And what about if you were going to cut out of town for a day trip, where would you go? It would have to be like your favorite once again,
Hands down, I would have to say I'd go to Maito. We're here being in a tourist town, and especially if you're doing PR and marketing, and you're constantly talking to people, and I love that. That's why I do it. But sometimes you just want to shut out, and being on that, 30 kilometers of pristine beach and no one else around, that's heaven. Mm-hmm. That's why we do what we do.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And yeah, you You deserve a little bit of that, desert island kind of thing going on, don't you?
Absolutely. I was looking for Gilligan last time.
Yeah, absolutely is right. He's too goofy. You got to look for the professor, okay?
Well, actually, it was Marianne, but...
Right on. Yeah, Marianne was my favorite, too.
Yeah. Look, I think she was everyone's favorite.
I guess so. My wife says, why not Ginger? I said, come on, too much work.
It's high maintenance.
Yeah, way too much work. You've lived here for 6 years. If somebody was thinking about moving down here, what would you say is the most challenging thing about leaving the States and living down here?
Well, I can only speak for myself, but I think that the hardest thing is letting go of everything back in the States, all your personal possessions that you've accrued over the years, and letting them go at next to nothing, and you try and get things into the right hands. I think that's the hardest thing. But once you get here, you never think about those things again, and it's a very easy trade. It's just scary in the beginning.
Okay. All right. You ever thought about running back home?
Never.
All right. That's my girl. All right. How about a tip for first-time visitors to Puerto Vallarta?
Leave the resort. Try everything. What I love about Puerto Vallarta is I don't even at this point think of this ever as a beach town anymore. It is chock full of art. It's chock full of world-class restaurants. It's chock full of entertainment. It is such an incredible destination because it has absolutely everything. The mountains, the ocean. You got it. Try everything.
Yeah. All right. That's great advice. Is there something I missed? Is there something else you want to add before we say goodbye today?
I just want to add that we're really excited about this year in the park. We're really excited about our affiliation with culture. We're really excited to just have the wheels fly off the bus and explode with that park. And so we need volunteers. We need all different kinds of things, and absolutely we need your support. So that's what we're looking for. Any more information, info at Tile Park PV, and we'll get back to you. We would love to have your help and support.
Excellent. I'll have links to all that in the show notes for this episode, so look for those, or just go to www.tileparkpv.com. Nancy?
Yes?
Thanks for joining me, and thanks for letting me introduce you to my listeners. I really appreciate that.
Thank you so much. It's been my pleasure.
All right. I have Jamie Burton Chamberlain here today. Look at you, man. Jamie, tell us about yourself. Where are you from, and what was your path to Puerto Vallarta?
Okay. Well, I'd say most recently I'm from Seattle, Washington. I've spent the last 5 years there expanding my music video company, which originated in Los Angeles. And I started to frequent Puerto Vallarta about 5 years ago and found incredible people and just a vibrant place to be. And 2 years, I made a commitment to start staying full time.
Well, all right. And here you are.
Here I am, going on year number 3.
Number 3,
Yes.
all right. And do you stay during the summertime?
This is the first time I've stayed through.
And how'd it go?
Well, it wasn't my favorite, but you gotta take the good with the bad, I guess. A lot of people love it because it's so quiet. You don't have the hubbub. It just really gets quiet. This year, I don't think it got as hot as it did last summer. A lot of people saying how hot it was, and I felt the hot spell kind of came and went. We're starting to cool down a little bit right now, although they say it's going to, October still could be quite hot. But yeah, it's a little different when there's not much going on.
Yeah. All right. So tell us what are you doing here? What are you up to here in Vallarta?
Well,
what's a movie film guy doing out here?
The thought was to open a satellite office in Puerto Vallarta. There's so much growth going on here right now. there's so many great musicians playing around, and there's 14 cranes in the ground right now. So the demographic and the needs for media infrastructure, I think, is here. And then I saw that and I thought, why not expand my services here and offer to that? So we've been able to work with some American clients and shoot some fairly well budgeted American rock videos, but at the same time work with local artists and generally just do it as a favor, just to be a part of the community and help these guys get some good visuals to match their music. And so that's kind of been the process there.
Okay, so music videos.
Videos.
That's your gig. That's what happens here.
That's it.
Okay, so what are you doing at Couture?
Okay, so culture is kind of a landing spot for everything that Black Dahlia is going to be doing. The filmmaking side of it is kind of just the backbone. That's something that I don't know how aggressively I'll continue to really pursue that next year. But I'm dabbling with some clothing designs that kind of have some rock and roll staple sensibilities. So I'm hoping that in the studio space that I've been privileged to use for however long, that we'll actually be making garments within that 10 by 10 room. And between 9 in the morning till 1, you can watch someone put together a garment.
Oh, wow.
So that's one of the things. First and foremost on the creative and production will be that. We're also involved with some of my favorite artists, jewelers here that we're going to be collaborating with, figuring out a way to add our style and brand to what they kind of already have in their production line, and then offer it at the showroom. So there'll be clothes, there'll be jewelry, which is Nancy Page's wonderful, amazing idea, because it's really the jewelry part I hadn't really thought about, but what it offers us the ability to do is create exposure to these great silversmiths or people who are you did something with Virgin Art. Is that the ones that make the cards? We had
the extra virgin art.
Extra Virgin Art. We met with them today about doing a custom design for us, and so it allows everybody to see all these different artists, maybe in a little bit different twist, and that's it. It's also, we're going to offer proceeds from everything that happens inside of our showroom to one of the charities here that we feel strongly about. So it's a win-win. It's just everybody gets to have a little bit of fun with it.
Yeah. Wow. All right. Well, this is all very interesting, and this is kind of like brand new kind of to Puerto Vallarta, which is,
I would say.
I think you probably got a good idea here.
So I was living down here in the flats for the first 2 years and just would walk out on the street, very vibrant. And about 4 months ago, I ended up moving up to Amapis at the very top of the hill. And I didn't know if I'd like it or not, but the space is a big townhouse. It's in a gated space, and there's not a lot of foot traffic up there. And so we decided to build a boutique recording studio, because that's one of the problems that I've had working with local artists here, although we're able to get them a pretty decent quality music video for almost free, to try to match that to a live recording or get them into a space where they can have decent recording facilities to lay that track has not been here. And we've known that for about 2 years now. So this is something that's evolving. And so yeah, it's the Black Dahlia Burgundy Room. And we hope to start live streaming maybe as soon as December, but certainly into 2019. And every Thursday night at 8, you can go to the Facebook page and you can see Sean Moore and John Swanson up there ripping it up, playing 3 songs, talking about their inspirations, where they play, and everybody here gets to kind of do what you're doing, get a little bit of a taste of all the different, talents. They're 30 minutes up in the Burgundy Room.
Nice.
Once a week.
All
yeah,
right.
And so everybody who's playing the Banderas Bay will be given the opportunity to be a part of it.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
Very good. And those are great promotions for them and for the bands, and get people out to be able to see, what they're walking out to go see, and, they'd be able to pick and choose what they want.
somewhat like maybe the way that you compile your blog episodes. It'll be the same way. I mean, we're just going to cut the fat out of it, but if they want to see an artist, they can just click, and they'll all be just there to preview at any point in time.
Right on.
And we'll just build a catalog of live material that people can take a look at.
Yeah, well, there's plenty of that going on around here, so you're going to be busy, man.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun and interesting. And then if things work out well with that, then we will plan on recording up there. I mean, it's my hope that we will record an entire album up there with. We're not sure yet who, if one of the local bands, or we do a compilation of musicians, or it could be an American artist that comes down. But we roll our sleeves up, and everyone lives at the house, fully catered, boutique style service. Everything's all inclusive. So it's a singer-songwriter band retreat type of space.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to get in trouble, you can stay up there and have a great time. There's a pool that looks down over the city, and it's really beautiful. You don't want to leave. So
yeah. All right.
Yeah.
They made it very comfortable for these guys, and they probably won't want to leave, so be careful.
Yeah. No, I mean, when we get it up and running, I'd love for you to come up there and do your own show up there.
Right on.
Put you in the space.
We'll talk about that. That's
right.
Fantastic. All right, so I'm going to go down that same road that I went with Nancy here. I'm going to ask you a couple questions about the city.
Okay.
Tell me your 3 favorite places to eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner, please.
Okay. Well, I'm a one-meal guy kind of person, so I just skip lunch and breakfast. I don't do those things. But
okay.
So I save it all up for the evening. My favorites are, I just hit a new place called OPA Greek Bistro.
Yeah, it's new, yeah.
And I was blown away all the way around. Great service, great food, great wine, ambient, just top-notch stuff. And so that's one of my new favorites. And then Bravo's is a big staple. Michael runs all his stuff amazingly. They always have something new that they're trying. And then up for the view, I'd say Casa Isabel. So that you can't go wrong there. It's just beautiful.
Right. Very good. Very good. What about advice for a first-time traveler to Puerto Vallarta?
Well, it's a safe city, and you can't come down here feeling. Use common sense and everything. But in the years that I've lived here, I walk the streets at night, whatever. I've never had a problem at all with anybody. I mean, a lot of the places in Old Town, people leave their doors open at all times of the night. You see families in there eating their late night dinner on the ground, and I've never had any sense of, trepidation or fear. That being said, be safe, but also explore the neighborhoods. Of course, get out of the resort zone and start getting into it a little bit. Dig into the back streets of Old Town, and you're going to find a lot of cool stuff, including culture, which is kind of that bridge between, say, central Old Town and the beach, all the way up to the Mercado, which is now people are saying, oh, what a great place to go buy my vegetables, and I get to be a part of this thriving, community and stuff. So
yeah,
I'd say go to culture.
All right, well, you guys all know that I'm going to have pictures of culture in the show notes for this episode of the Puerto Vallarta Travel Show. And let's see here. Before I let you go, do you have anything else you want to add?
Well, I'm just really excited, to be honest. I mean, the culture thing and just the sense of talent, really, that's down here, and opportunity. I think everyone's really starting to see that there's this... Puerto Vallarta has a lot to offer on the artistic side, and the more that I talk to people and collaborate with the other artists and jewelers, like I said, and people that are making things down here, handcrafts and whatnot, it's just exciting to know that now there'll be more exposure to these types of things. So,
okay, all right. Well, Jamie, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank
I'm
you.
going to have a picture of Jamie in the show notes. I'll have a link to his Black Dahlia Films website. And thank you. Thanks for coming on and talking with me.
I really appreciate your time. I love your show. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.
Catherine Caldera.
Hi, Barry.
How you doing?
Great to be on your show again. I'm a big fan.
Well, I'm a big fan of yours, too.
Thank you.
Tell us what's going on. What's up?
Well, I have 2.5 things I wanted to talk with you about today.
Okay, let's go for it.
Okay. One is I'm lining up the TED Talks at the Boutique Theater for the 2018-19 season.
Uh-huh.
So we're going to have some of your favorite speakers from the past 2 seasons and some brand new people. And those are just educational, informational, motivational speakers. The programs are all in English. They're going to be from 11 to 1 on Tuesdays at Nacho Daddy. And, it's an opportunity for people who are tired of just watching sports on TV and hanging out on the beach, not that that's a bad thing, to come together and learn from other like-minded people who just love learning and being around people who have new ideas. And
Can you give us can you give us some hints as to who's going to be featured this year?
I can. I mean, this is fresh in. Paco Ojeda is going to be joining us. He'll be our first TED speaker, and I believe that's November 20th. So he's going to talk about his new role with the Boutique Theater and Nacho Daddy and give kind of some highlights of his season happenings.
All right,
and
well, come on,
why
give me a
people
hint.
love music. And
Give me a hint. What's his new role?
I mean, it's so fresh.
It's like
I'm not
music
even
history,
really sure.
isn't it? I
But
mean,
yes, he's going to be giving some music history,
Yeah.
some movie nights, just some, like I said, things to make us come together and talk and learn and throw some new ideas around
Very
and enjoy
good.
memories.
Right on. Okay. All right. So that's one. We
Okay,
got
that's
one and a
one.
half more.
Okay. The second one would have to be karaoke. I've been hosting and having a ball doing karaoke nights around Puerto Vallarta for a few years now.
Yeah.
And at the end of last season, I started a Facebook group kind of on a lark called PV Karaoke Lovers. And it's got 279 members,
Oh.
many of whom I've never even met. But anybody's welcome to join, post their favorite videos of them or their friends singing, invite people to their karaoke gigs if you've got a birthday or special occasion. That's kind of the place we all come together there. And starting this Friday, I will be hostessing again at Cafe Roma.
Ah. Okay. Yeah.
So we'll do that Wednesdays and Fridays from 6 to 9:30. Great group of friends that we just enjoy getting together and making music and laughing at ourselves. It's not about being the best singer at all. It's not competitive. It's just we do lots of duets and we have props and costumes and
Oh wow.
just get together and celebrate and eat and drink on the river. So come join us Wednesdays and Fridays anytime
Good. And that's at
this season. Cafe Roma.
Cafe Roma.
On
Okay.
Encino.
When
Right
some-
on the river upstairs so you can watch the iguanas in the trees and super friendly staff.
Excellent. When somebody goes to Cafe Roma, what do they order there? Pizza?
Yeah, the pizzas are popular. There's, pastas and salads and wings are really good. They have this beautiful glassware they put their drinks in, too. So it just makes for a real classy experience.
So
Yeah.
do you schlep around that equipment, or what goes on with that?
They have their own, probably the most amazing karaoke system I've ever worked with, in that if you go in there, Barry, and you go, I don't know what to sing, I can pull up what you've sung there before on what night. And if you wanted it 2 steps lower, it'll remember that.
Really?
It remembers the next 3 singers coming up, so it'll tell you if you're on deck and what you're going to be singing. So everybody really
Oh, wow,
enjoys that. I barely have
that's
to think.
high tech.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, it's a blast.
All right, so can people can they practice at home? Can they figure out what kind of songs you guys
Well,
are singing
yeah.
there, before they show up?
Absolutely, and I recommend it just so you're more comfortable. These days, anybody can go on YouTube and type in karaoke, Oh What a Night, Frankie Valli, or whatever, and it'll have several versions up there.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, just to give yourself a little more confidence, practice your dance moves a little bit if you want to be fancy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, cool. So you want to look fancy, you want to you want to look like you know what you're doing, even if you're maybe 3 sheets to the wind. Then why not, right?
Right. We'll have the Elton John glasses and the Michael Jackson wig, and I picked up some feather boas in the United States, and we've had recently a cowbell donated. I may have to monitor that a little bit.
Yeah. Be careful,
could
man.
Get a little out of control, but
yeah. Remember, there's hotels in that neighborhood. Okay, so you have another item, I imagine,
And
yes,
then
or
the
half of an item.
Yeah, well, it's really self-serving, but I am so delighted. I have been cast in a play at the Boutique Theater that's going to go up in January, and it's like the role of a lifetime for me. The play is called The Clean House, and it's a dark comedy drama. Only 5 people in it, And I read the whole thing a couple weeks ago on my phone while I was in the States because I couldn't put it down. And I'm just really thrilled to be in that. Josie McGillivray is going to direct with some mentor directing assistance from Barb Harris, one of our experienced directors. And I just can't wait to start rehearsals and get immersed in that. So,
All right, so when is that going to be?
in January, and I don't have the exact dates right in front of me, but
Maybe middle of January, maybe end of January?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you'll send me an email and let me know when that is so that I can tell my
I'll probably
audience.
be guilty of that, yes.
Yeah, well, I hope you would. All right, well, very good.
Thank you for letting me indulge myself.
Oh,
on that
listen,
one.
this is what I'm here for. Anything else you want to add?
I think that's good. Just I appreciate you bringing us all together. I'm happy I know everyone here that you're going to be interviewing today, so I appreciate you letting me be a part of it. And let's have a great high season this year.
Hip, hip, hooray. All right, we'll see you then.
Thank you so much, Barry.
Thank you, Catherine. And look who's here today. We got Pam. How you doing?
I'm doing great. You can call me Berserk.
I'm going to call you Berserk because that's your like TripAdvisor name, isn't it?
Right.
Okay. Well, you're not staying downtown. You came all the way in to see us. Where are you staying?
I'm staying at Casa Velas in the marina.
Uh-huh. And that's all inclusive, right?
It's all inclusive, luxury boutique hotel. Hard to leave.
What kind of surprises have you gotten over at Casa Velas this time around?
What kind of surprises? Well, there's a lot of new staff at Casa Velas, so that was pretty surprising to me because I have a long-time crew.
Uh-huh.
There's a new manager. They've made some changes to the resort. New menus. I think that's enough surprises.
Well, that's pretty cool. All right, so you're enjoying your stay there.
Love it.
How's the weather here today? It's a little bit warm and
It's a little humid and warm for me coming from Chapala, but it's tolerable.
Uh-huh. Okay. You're in town. Where are you going to have dinner tonight?
Tonight, I don't know where we're having dinner. Somewhere close to Por Favor.
Okay. All right. Very good. As well you should. We've talked to you about some luxury hotels around here. Have you ever stayed at Vidante?
Yes.
Yeah, we talked about that last time, didn't
yes, I've stayed at Vidante numerous times.
we? Okay, all right. And they're aren't they doing something like a circus? What are they doing over there? What are they making?
They say they're going to do like a Cirque du Soleil type show.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if they've actually boned that up or signed contracts with Cirque du Soleil or if they will. But they will be putting on some sort of show similar to Cirque du Soleil at some point. It was already supposed to have opened the past February, apparently, and it didn't. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, they do have plans in the works.
Yeah, so it's like what is it going to be, like an amphitheater, or is it like actually some indoor kind of thing?
I think it's going to be an indoor thing that you buy tickets for. I think it's going to be open to the public as well as people staying at Vidante.
Okay. I understand that if you're not staying at Vidante, you can actually go there and dine there. Is that correct?
You can go there and what?
And dine there. You can actually go and
I don't
crash
know
that
if you
place?
can dine there if you're not staying there.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
really not sure.
Do you have anything new? Anything happening with you?
Anything new and happening with
how's
me?
everything up in Lake Chapala?
Everything's good in Lake Chapala. We've had a very mild rainy season. I don't know if that's good or bad.
Yeah.
Whether we'll have rain in the colder months, which might not be a good thing. Chapala and Ajijic are growing like crazy, much like Puerto Vallarta. Again, not sure that's such a great thing. Maybe, maybe not. Other than that, the weather's been good, and it's pretty much status quo there.
How's the new highway coming along?
The new highway, that actually makes me laugh. The new highway, they opened two highways. They opened a bypass around Guadalajara. That's wonderful. You totally eliminate the Guadalajara traffic, so you're taking off probably an hour in your travels. The new highway, I guess, is Hala Compostela, every single time it's rainy season, they close it. So it has been closed the whole rainy season from June to now. It was closed when we arrived this time as well. So you're going the old way again because they keep having mudslides.
Is that okay? It's mudslides.
Yes, and when they will ever finish the final end of it, which is the worst part of the travel because it's the most windy through the mountains.
Yeah.
I have no clue.
Oh, okay. So not anytime soon. It sounds.
No,
like.
I wouldn't hold my breath.
Do you think that the reason that they're going to keep on having problems is just because of the route they chose, and they've decided to put this highway in a very landslide-prone area?
I think maybe it has to do with no forethought. They tend to build things in Mexico or do things in Mexico and deal with the consequences after.
Yeah.
And I think that's what happened. It's a beautiful highway. It looks like it was well constructed, but it of course is cutting through a mountain. And I don't think they took the proper precautions to prevent the landfall or mudslides that can happen.
Yeah. How's everything going with your job on TripAdvisor? What's on the forums? What's the big talk? What's happening there?
What's the big talk on the forums? On TripAdvisor.
Yes, the Puerto
Okay.
Vallarta forum.
Well, I don't know how much liberty I have to speak on TripAdvisor, but they are coming up with some new ideas, new plans. I can only, I guess, speak for myself. There has been a big happening for me because I reached the 500,000 reader mark, which was a huge goal for me, and I reached it and actually have surpassed it. So I'm pretty excited over that. And TripAdvisor is trying to branch out in many, many different directions. And I think we'll have a lot of exciting things happening with them coming in the future.
Okay, well, we'll keep on top of that, and maybe we can talk about that when that happens.
Yeah.
All right, that would be really great. Yeah. Hey, Dessert, thanks for coming on again. And, if you want to hear an entire episode with Pam Berserk, then you want to go to my website and look her up. I'll have a link to that particular episode in the show notes for this episode, so you can listen to her whole story, and you can find that at www.puertovallartatravelshow.com. Berserk, thanks for coming. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Barry. It's my pleasure. Have a great day.
All right. Well, that was a lot of fun, wasn't it? Now, as always, I have pictures of all of the interviewees in the show notes and of our little party that we had up on the rooftop over at Kelly's Por Favor and Saloon. And I have to say that it's just so much fun to hear you folks, to have you guys come to the show, take a little time from your vacation, your time in paradise, hang out with us, tell us what's going on, eat and drink and share ideas, have great meetings of the mind. It's a great, great time, really. And I want to thank each and every one of you for coming and taking the time and speaking with me and introducing yourselves to my audience. And speaking about meet and greets, over at Kelly's Por Favor, you know that they are organized by JR, by John Russell, and he has them every week on Tuesdays. And the time's going to change, actually, this coming week, because we're going to go back to standard time in Puerto Vallarta. So on Sunday, the clock's going to fall back, and so will the meet and greet. They're going to start at 6:30 instead of 5:30, so make a note of that. Those meet and greets over at Kelly's Por Favor are going to be at 6:30 in the evening, and that'll be until spring comes, and we will fall back once again to 5:30, okay? All right, well, that should do it for this episode of the Puerto Vallarta Travel Show. Next week, stay tuned for more on-the-ground reports from Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, with travel tips, great restaurant and excursion ideas, and more. But until then, remember, this is an interactive show where I depend on your questions and suggestions about all things Puerto Vallarta. If you think of something that I should be talking about, well, please reach out to me by clicking on the Contact Us tab and sending us your message. And remember, if you're considering booking any type of tour while you're in Puerto Vallarta, you must go to vallartainfo.com. That's JR's website, and you need to reserve your tour through him right from his website, which, by the way, is brand new. You got to check it out. It looks great. Go to vallartainfo.com and see it. Remember, it's a value-for-value proposition, my friends. His experience and on-the-ground knowledge of everything Puerto Vallarta in exchange for your making a purchase of a tour that you would do anyway. You're just doing it through him as a way of saying thank you. Thanks, JR, for being our guide. It costs no more than if you were going to use someone else, so just do it, really. And when you do take one of those tours, email me about your experiences. Maybe you can come on board and share with others what you liked or didn't like about the tour. Again, contact me by clicking on the Contact Us tab and sending off a message. And don't forget, he has his maps, his DIY tours, his revitalized happy hour board, and more. Right there, I have all the links to all of those in the show notes, so check them out. And once again, if you like this podcast, please take the time and subscribe and give me a good review on iTunes if you would. That way we can get the word out to more and more people about the magic of this place, Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. And remember, I made it easy for you to do that with each episode I create. But if you haven't been to my website, hey, you really need to go and have a look there. I've got links to the places that we talk about. There's interesting pictures and more right there in my blog posts and in the show notes for each episode of the show. So check them out for sure if you haven't already. All right? All right. Well, thank you, Nancy Page from El Parque de los Azulejos. Check them out in the park, at Culture, online, donate, get involved in a workshop, see what you can do. And Catherine Caldera, check out her TED Talks when you're in Vallarta. They're at the Boutique Theater. Don't miss her karaoke Facebook page. I'll make sure that I link that up too. And join. Be prepared for your trip. For singing stardom. And look, thanks to you, Jamie Burton Chamberlain. I'm looking forward to seeing what you're going to be doing over there in the Burgundy Room. It sounds awesome. And thanks to you, Berserk. It's so good to finally meet you in person. Thanks for that great information. And, thank you, Edgar. Thanks for letting us know about the Brewmasters Festival coming up next month. I'll remind all you guys about that as the date approaches. And thanks to all of you for listening all the way through this episode of the Puerto Vallarta Travel Show. This is Barry Kessler signing off with a wish for all of you to slow down, be kind, and live the Vallarta lifestyle. Nos vemos, amigos.
Samba de Puerto Vallarta, noche de amor junto al mar. Solo camino interno por la playa, me encuentro junto al río cuando todo está en calma. Pronto cae la noche, me brillas Puerto Vallarta, samba de Puerto Vallarta, noche de arrullo en el mar. Samba de Puerto Vallarta.